I feel myself. Never say it. Me love she. No. Her cheated I. No, no, no. She said beside I. No, no, and again no. So these are verbs and these are nouns. As we already know, they hardly change in English, but these are pronouns and only they change in English concerning gender, number, and case. Why and how to use them in English? Let's break it down. Guys, my name is Serhi and on this channel I help people learn English easily. So in this video we discussed with you what a noun is in English and everything related to it. I recommend you to watch this video if you haven't seen it yet. And I'll briefly remind you that nouns in English indicate a person, animal, place, thing, and abstract concept. Like it might be in your language, we can replace them with personal pronouns, such as I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and they. It's simple. But what do you know about these pronouns? Let's start by understanding why only they change in English. As I mentioned in this video, English language was influenced by many other languages, including Latin. If we look at this table, we'll see that English pronouns were borrowed from Latin or brought by centurions during their campaigns. In Latin, as in Old English language, nouns and verbs were declined for gender, number, and case. But today, we have a simplified system in English. We only decline pronouns. The thing is that, due to this, the usage patterns of these pronouns differ from our usual patterns as we need to understand how and where to use them correctly in the sentence to avoid mistakes like me love she said beside I feel myself, which literally means I touch myself over there. She cheated I, which sounds more like I cheated on her. Let's start with personal pronouns. Let's remember that we use them before verbs as subjects to replace the main noun. So I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and they are used before main verbs. We discussed what verbs are and their types in this video. Remember that in questions we swap to be and to do with the noun and consequently with the pronoun if we use it. So we have Mary is terribly upset today. Mary is a noun because it's a person, a name. Is a state verb. To be in the form is for he, she, it. She is terribly upset today. She is a personal pronoun for third person singular feminine gender. So we use it to replace the female name Mary. Susan and Pete don't want to go to the party. Susan and Pete are nouns. These are people's names. Do is an action verb that we use in a negative sentence with the negative particle not to negate the main verb want. They don't want to go to the party. They is a personal pronoun for a third person plural, so we use it to replace the names Susan and Pete. Is Dad traveling to London next week? Dad is a noun because it's a person, a name. Is a state verb. To be in the form is for he, she, it, and we put it before the noun because it's a question. Is he traveling to London next week? He is a personal pronoun for the third person singular masculine gender, so we use it to replace the male name Dad. As we can see, personal pronouns are used in English just like nouns in simple sentences, before main verbs as a subject and after them in questions. Now, what are possessive pronouns? In English, there are possessive pronouns and possessive adjectives. Let's start by recalling that we can express possession by adding an apostrophe and letter S to nouns, such as Tom, Toms, Mary, Marys. Just to replace such nouns, we use possessive adjectives: my, your, his, her, its, our, your, their. I'll make a remark. In Ukrainian, which is my native language, as it might be in your language, we can decline each of these adjectives separately. For example, their sounds like їхня книга, їхні автомобілі, їх будинок, etc. But in English, we do not decline these adjectives. So we have their books, their cars, their houses. And so let's remember that we use these possessive adjectives before nouns, and it's crucial because in English there are also possessive pronouns that have the same meaning, but we don't follow them with anything in a sentence and use them after the verbs. Let's get familiar with them and then go through examples. So, mine, yours, his, hers, its, ours, yours, theirs. So as we see, we simply add the ending, which is letter S, to possessive adjectives if it's not already present. And so, this is Mary's house. Mary's. Here we have an apostrophe and letter S, indicating possession, and a noun, house, meaning Mary's house. This is her house. Her is a possessive adjective for the third person singular feminine, standing before the noun. This house is hers. Here we have hers, which is a possessive pronoun for the third person singular feminine placed after the verb. This is Tom's idea. Tom's. Here we have an apostrophe and letter S, indicating possession, and a noun, idea, meaning Tom's idea. This is his idea. His is a possessive adjective for the third person singular masculine, standing before the noun. This idea is his. His is a possessive pronoun for the third person singular masculine, placed after the verb. In this case, the possessive adjective and pronoun sounds and are written the same way. Those are Susan and Pete's keys. Susan and Pete's indicates possession with an apostrophe and the letter S, and the noun here is keys, meaning the keys belong to Susan and Pete. Those are their keys. Their is a possessive adjective for the third person plural, standing before the noun. Those keys are theirs. We use theirs as a possessive pronoun for the third person plural, placed after the verb. Let's summarize. Possessive adjectives and possessive pronouns are used to express possession of a noun by someone or something. The only difference is that possessive adjectives are used before the noun, while possessive pronouns are used after the verb to be in its corresponding form. Okay, got it. Now let's break down object personal pronouns. It has such a long and intimidating name indeed, and if we look into grammar textbooks, we'll see that they correspond to all cases except the nominative, boring. In short, when we talk about any action we perform on or with someone or something, we use those tricky object personal pronouns, which are me, you, him, her, it, us, you, and them. So, in English, we use them after action verbs that we perform on or with someone or something. Students did their exercises yesterday. Here we have their exercises and the action did. It means we can replace their exercises with them. Accordingly, students did them yesterday. I will go to the party with Sam. Here we have the noun Sam, which is a name, and the action go with. It means we can replace Sam with him. I will go to the party with him. I gave my brother a very nice surprise. Here we have my brother and the action give, in the past tense, gave. It means we can replace my brother with him. I gave him a very nice surprise. Give it to me. Here we have the action give to, which I want somebody to do to me. Give me something. So in this case, I'll use me. Give it to me. Explain it to us. Here we have the action explain to, which we want someone to do to us. Explain something to us. So in this case, we use us. Explain it to us. Okay, so what's wrong with the sentence I feel myself? Here we are performing an action on ourselves. That is, if we want to emphasize the main noun or describe any action that we, you, or anyone else does to themselves, or highlight independence while performing an action, we use reflexive pronouns. And they are myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, yourselves, themselves, oneself. I am talking to myself now. We have an action, talking to, which I am doing to myself, and accordingly, I use the pronoun myself. They did this by themselves. We have an action, did, which a certain number of people did independently in a group together. So we use themselves. They did it themselves. Look at yourself. Your suit is so dirty. We have an action, look at, which we want a particular person to do to him, herself. So accordingly, we use the pronoun yourself. Look at yourself. Guys, today we've covered a large number of pronouns. There are also relative, interrogative, and indefinite pronouns, but we'll cover them later when we'll talk about questions and negative sentences. So guys, please practice at home all types of pronouns we've discussed today and everything related to them. And remember, consistency beats talent, which literally means that regular practice, even if it feels slow and challenging, ultimately leads to greater proficiency and success in English. See you soon and wish you luck.